Good morning students. Today let me go through next important aspect, that is so called as the basic terms in accounting. So within the accounting literature we will come across some of the important concepts, some of the important terminologies in the accounting literature. So those can be studied one by one. The first important term is that entity. Entity is nothing but an enterprise. Enterprise in the sense it is nothing but a business organization. Business organization in the sense which has definite physical existence. That is so called as an entity. The business organization can be profit organization, or the business organization can be non-profit organization also. But that will cover under the business organization, and that business organization is nothing but an entity. That is the first important term. And second thing is that transaction. What actually is mean by transaction? Transaction means any events which takes place between two or more entities. That is so called as a transaction. Best example can be selling of goods and services to the customers, or procurement of raw materials from the suppliers. So here if you see some of the events which are going to take place between the persons to person or between the two or more business organization, those events are nothing but transaction. And third thing is that assets. Many a times you have heard the concept of assets. Assets in the sense these are nothing but economic resources which are held by an enterprise, and those are expressed in monetary terms. Those are so called as the assets. Those can be even the fixed assets, or those can be even the current assets also, but all that constitute assets only. And fourth thing is that the liabilities. Liability in the sense it is nothing but any debts or obligations which are held by an enterprise, or which are have to be paid by an enterprise during the future period of time. That is nothing but a liabilities. And fifth thing is that the capital. One of the most important term in the accounting literature is nothing but a capital. What is capital? Capital means any goods or amount so invested by the owners of business organization. Say for example, if the person A, he is going to introduce rupees 1 lakh, and that amount is going to be invested by him in the business organization. That amount so invested, or any kind of the goods which are so brought into the business organization, that is so called as the capital. So these are the first important 5 terms. And next thing is that sales. What actually mean by sales? Sales means any revenues which are generated by selling goods and services, or revenues so generated by goods so sold to the customers. That is nothing but sales. And next thing is that the revenues. Revenues means amounts so earned by selling of goods, or amounts so earned by making provision of services to the customers. That is so called as the revenues. And eighth thing is that the expenses. Expenses means each and every kind of cost so incurred by the business enterprise for earning of revenues, that is so called as the expenses. And ninth thing is that the expenditure in the sense spending of any money or incurring of any liability for the sake of some benefit. It means that keeping in mind so as to earn any kind of the benefit, if any amount which is going to be spent, if any liability which is going to be incurred by the business organization, that is so called as the expenditure. And profit means it is nothing but excess of revenues over the expenditure, that is so called as the profit. And 11th thing is that the gain means any kind of profit so earned from any event or from any transaction incidental to the business organization, that is so called as the gain. And next thing is that the loss means opposite to the profit. As we all know that profit means excess of revenue over the expenses is nothing but a profit. Loss means excess of expenses over and above the revenues, that is so called as the loss. Say for example, the business enterprise has incurred expenses amounted to rupees 1 lakh, and just by incurring those expenses it has generated revenues amounted to rupees 80,000. Here expenses are 1 lakh, but whereas the revenues are only 80,000. This situation is going to create the loss for business organization, that is nothing but a loss. And discount means any kind of reduction in the amount of goods sold, that is so called as the discount. And voucher means it is nothing but a documentary evidence in support of business transaction which are engaged by an entity. That documentary evidence is so called as the voucher. And 15th one is the goods means any kind of products which an enterprise is dealing, in the sense either it is engaged in the producing them or selling them or buying them. In these activities the enterprise has rightly been dealing, those are nothing but a goods. And 16th term is that drawings means it is any kind of amount or goods which are so withdrawn for the personal purposes, that is so called as the drawings. And next thing is that the purchases means it is nothing but any kind of goods which are procured for their further use in the production or for the sake of selling, that is so called as purchases. It means that either the goods are they can be purchased on cash basis or even they can be purchased on credit basis also, that is so called as the purchases. And 18th one is that the stock means it is nothing but an inventory. Inventory means it includes each and every kind of the components, spare parts or raw materials, semi-finished products and even the finished products also. That inventory is so called as the stock. And 19th one is the debtors. Debtors means it is nothing but each and every kind of persons or entities who owe to an enterprise. Who owe to an enterprise means those people have an obligation towards the business organization. Why they are having the obligation? Because the company has sold goods to them on credit basis. That is why those persons or entities who owe to an enterprise, they are so called as the debtors. And last thing is that the creditors. Creditors are simply opposite to the term debtors. Creditors means they are nothing but each and every kind of persons or entities to whom an enterprise has obligation, or to whom the business enterprise owe. Those are so called as the creditors. Why? Because your business organization has purchased goods on credit basis from those people. That is why the business organization is having some sort of obligation towards those persons or towards those entities. Those are so called as the creditors. So these are the 20 important terms which can be seen in the accounting literature, and these can be asked for either 1 mark or even for the 2 marks also. So those are very important from exam point of view, and please go through the discussion, and with this I am going to conclude my discussion. Thank you.